Good afternoon, poetry lovers. We have here editor-in-chief of Harbinger Asylum and founder of Transcendent Zero Press, Dustin Pickering. In his right hand, or our left, he is holding the newest issue of Harbinger Asylum at what it looks like now. Then in his left hand, or our right, he is holding what Harbinger Asylum used to look like. Dustin, can you please tell us a bit of the few key changes in Harbinger Asylum as far as the look and what we're doing with the magazine itself and some of the current projects in it?
Uh, the This issue was more of a glossy kind of paperback cover. This was a photo paper we used for the cover. We were printing this ourselves with the printer, color laser printer. This was used with CreateSpace, and I'm more impressed with this. It does have a little bit of some blurriness to it, to the images and the text, but it's just the color rate, the way it was colored, and the way it looks in general is much better. The direction we're taking the magazine this was one of our better issues of last year, I think, because I was more impressed with the content of this issue. We ran across a lot of good friends that contributed. We used to run a Denson Home Health ad. Denson's got us started. Now we're running a kind of motto or slash mission statement on the back, which I've just did this past issue because I think it's better for the magazine. I did promise Suzanne Denson an ad, and I think we ran about 2 years worth of ads for her first initial running of the letting us print the magazine with her copier at the office, at the Denson Home Health office.
Okay. Can you explain to us a couple of the key concepts in Harbinger Asylum? Like, for example, when we did a leadership issue, and when we and what we're currently doing as far as the book reviews and so, some of the interviews and some of the new. I know we've always been international, but some of the new international people we've been getting in as far as poetry.
We started with we had one Canadian poet who brought a couple of his friends in. As far as international, that was years ago. It was like 2 years ago. But the goal really is to bind people, to create alliances, which I do say here in the mission statement. Our mission is to bring creative community together, form alliances and binding ties, and to encourage creative endeavors, which I couldn't have said it better. Actually, I did because I wrote that. But yeah, as far as like the book reviews, that's bringing in more outlets for creative endeavors, to get more people interested in independent publishing, to bring more literature to the table. We might not be able to include a poem from a book, but we can at least review a book and tell the audience what we think, and suggest this, by kind of the power of suggestion. Ask them if they'd like to buy a copy, through the review, kind of promote other independent authors who are struggling as much as we are with selling books and things like that. And we brought in a Greek poet. I published her poem in the Lady Liberty issue over there, with the original Greek and a couple of her poems. That was the leadership themed issue suggested by Adriana. She had some friends who were and colleagues in the PhD program at Our Lady of the Lake University, and they wanted to do something kind of lasting that's part of the forming the community and binding ties, bringing together a good group of people. And we also included a lot of poets that were not previously published. We've done that since our beginning, tried to find poets. We actually purposely seek out, some poets who are very good, but they're novices, because they've never really been published. They've written them for a long time. They never thought maybe we can go out and into the world and publish something, and they never really considered it something worth publishing. But the world likes, there's always somebody's going to like what you're doing, you know. So we've purposely sought out people who were kind of hiding in the corners.
Definitely.
There was even a poem by Edward Vidwara, I think his name is, where he says, I'll be in a dark corner writing, crying and writing, and it was in one of our previous issues. I think it was in this issue. Good poem, and it really made a powerful statement.
Do you feel that you relate to that statement?
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, reason I started a magazine is because I knew that Norton anthologies weren't coming to me.
Right.
No one's gonna come to me and say, like I'm doing to other people. They're not gonna say, "Oh, I like your poetry. I saw it on Facebook, and I want you to sign this contract, and we're gonna give you $25,000 and promote your book." It's not gonna happen. Give up on that. Start doing your own thing. Put yourself out there. Do your own work. Promote yourself. Help bring others into your dream, which is what I've been seeking to do. And it's all about just doing what you love.
Definitely. Well said. All right. Do you want to go ahead and show us the other two books?
Yes, we have 2 books published. Well, actually, we have 3 books.
Yeah, technically 3.
Published, but these are 2 authors we have published. Ken Jones is his 4th collection.
Mm-hmm.
Marcy Eanes from Racine, Wisconsin, and this is her 2nd collection of poems entitled Passion Zest. She originally titled it something else, but that title became taken within the year as she was planning the book. The 2 of us were both very proud of this book. She was almost considering giving up writing literature at one point in her life, and I insisted that she keep writing without knowing what was going on. I just figured, hey, let's get her to write. Let's keep the contributions coming in, and she sent me more poetry, even though she said she was tempted to throw in the towel the whole time, but I kept her going. I was very, very proud of that. Very inspired by her way of being able to come out with that with me personally, and just say, you gave me the strength to continue writing. And that's one of the reasons she chose Transcendent Zero Press to do her 2nd book. Ken Jones, I think we're kind of similar, like-minded individuals, and he is very in tune with, and he's an underdog kind of person too. He's like, he mentioned it at Forest Fest in Lamesa that he was doing Mr. Karma. He wanted a publisher for it. He thought we would be great. So
that's right.
Manuscript. We spent the whole time going home.
That's right.
The manuscript. We went from Lamesa to Austin, I think, reading the manuscript.
That's right.
Out loud. And
you read me the whole entire thing. Oh.
We very enjoyed it. And as
intensely.
James Adams says on the back here, James Adams is a Pulitzer Prize nominee. Uneasy themes in these troubled times. And James Adams thought this was Ken's best book. I am really proud to have brought this out.
Definitely. Can you explain the origins of TZ Press?
That came originally from a idea for a band. I literally wasn't looking through the dictionary like a typical millennial generation person, and found the word transcendent, thought it sounded beautiful, and thought it meant something really nice. And then I was listening to Smashing Pumpkins, trying to put a combination word with it, and they have a song called Zero, and for some reason it rang true. It was going to be a band that I was going to start when I was 15, but I could never find the people, and I never get serious dedicated enough. And so basically when I decided to start a press, I didn't even have to think about it. I'm like, I just wanted to go with that. It's kind of a mystical it's not a nonsense phrase by any stretch. It really does mean something. It's a concept that it's very hard to define because in and of itself it defines itself. Ultimately, it comes down to like a kind of universal nature of 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 being. Just of being in the world of existing. Kind of like almost like saying divine nothingness.
I see. What do you look for? Like, see, now that we've become an independent publishing press, what when somebody sends in a manuscript, what exactly do you look for? What factors?
These last two, Marcy, I chose immediately without even having to read the manuscript because I've always liked Marcy, and it was the first offer we had, and I've read her poetry. I met her at Austin International Poetry Festival 2012, I believe, and I was we became very good friends, and her and Tantra Zawadi, and she has a very extensive background in writing, and I like the fact that she's an experienced writer. I like the fact that her previous experience and her current writing of poetry combine into this unique style. I like the fact that some of her poetry is very deeply spiritual, yearning for something beyond oneself, and also it has that kind of corporal edge to it. There's a poem I think it's called "Oh God" in this collection, in which she says that having an orgasm is like oh God, and it's what God would say in creating a being.
Mm-hmm.
I like poetry that blends in such a beautiful way, that blends the physical nature of people and the physical nature of the world with the more transcendent qualities of existing and being in other planes of existence. With Ken Jones's book, Ken Jones is a character. He's a good guy, all around good guy. We have shared similar sensibilities for many years. I started publishing him to the beginning of the magazine, like issue 3. I've always thought his work was very punk rock. And I look for a radical take on life. Originality. Always originality. That's the key thing. I don't want somebody that's trying to be the next James Joyce.
Of course not.
I don't want to read T.S. Eliot again. That's already been done.
Right.
Go ahead and imitate their style all you want. It's part of learning.
Right. Kind of like.
You got to do your own thing too.
Kind of like how Whitman with Ginsberg,
Yeah, Ginsberg did in fact borrow a lot from the kind of structure of Whitman, but
that's right.
He never really came out and just ripped Whitman, totally ripped him off.
No, that's where Ginsberg.
He blends in like a kind of a radical atheism and punk rock sensibilities with a kind of spiritual sensuality, and there's like a lot of different sentiments and styles and takes on life in his books. I mean, there's nothing else like this in Texas. I know. I've never read anything from a contemporary writer in Texas that's writing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Marcy's a little bit more lighter in spirit, but she does cover the topics of mourning. She said as she was writing these poems in this book, she has always wanted to write a poem about her father. She has one in here called Daddy Benny, in which she looked at a photograph of her dad and her mom together, and the poem wanted it in this book, and she wanted it in this book.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff really intrigues me. I want to know a little bit about what inspires the person who's sending me the manuscript. I want to know, are you a person that just sits all day and fiddles with sticks and then just all of a sudden picks up a pen and just starts writing whatever? Or, what is it that you're wanting to bring into the world that And what does it mean to you? How personal can you be with it? If you're approaching a universal topic or a particular topic, do you have a goal in mind, a projected image you want to portray? Or are you just saying whatever is there? Whatever comes out of your mind. Because you're obviously going to dance around it a little bit. You're not going to be direct.
Naturally. Any upcoming Transcendent Zero projects?
Multiple. We've got the book signings coming in March, late March. We've got about 5 or 6 places I'm planning to contact. We've got gonna go to AIPF, Austin International Poetry Festival, and do stuff there. We got the Holidays Anthology. We got Z.M. Wise's latest book, my latest book, The Daunting Ephemeral, my first book, which is a collection. Which, if you ask me, it's kind of a bridge between these two. What I just described as these two, and literally the words "the daunting ephemeral" kind of mean roughly a temporary disappointment. But the book will not be a temporary disappointment. It'll be a long-lasting accomplishment. And Z.M. Wise's book, The Wandering Poet, will be released. We have multiple things. We're doing editing and proofreading, putting covers together.
Yes, we are.
Anybody that you know, whoever's watching this video, anybody you know wants to have a book, has the material together, whether we take you as our Transcendent Zero Press client or as just a client, paying client that needs to have a book put together, either way we're willing to take you if we have time.
Definitely. Any final words?
Happy writing, poetry lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Just get your butts out there, start doing some writing, experience life, give your life to others, be good to others, be good to yourself, and most of all, don't drink and drive.
That was very beautifully said. Well, that was Dustin Pickering, the editor-in-chief of Harbinger Asylum and founder of Transcendent Zero Press, signing out.